So Tiger Woods hit that reset button and went out and won the Masters. Won his first major in like 13 years. Something that doesn't happen that often. And I know already some of you are going to say that, well, he's Tiger. He has money. He has all these things around him. He can go and hit that reset button. It's easier for him. But what I'm telling you and what I'm going to show you in this video is that anybody can hit the reset button for whatever playing field that they're on. The playing field you're on, you can hit the reset just like he hit the reset. He got his results, you can get your results. It doesn't matter the level of the playing field or the field that you're playing on. The fact of the matter is you can hit the reset button in your life. You can stop holding on to your scars and hit that reset button. And let's get ready for part 2 of this video series. So what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is your Coach Renz, and first I want to thank everybody who knows that in between the first version, the first video, part 1, my uncle passed away. He transitioned from this existence, and I did a tribute video about what he meant to me, about his teachings towards me, about his lessons for me in life, and I'll put both part 1 and that video up here at the end of this one. But in the midst of that, in the midst of doing the handling family business, Tiger Woods, y'all, went out and won the Masters. It was threatened by storms here in Atlanta, in the Georgia area, because 2.5 hours away. But it was threatened by storms. But even with the threat of storms, he won the Masters. And the thing about it is that he wasn't expecting to. That's one of the big things about he wasn't even expecting to. But we're going to go through. The first video talked about, it was more how you just need to reset, hit that reset button, give yourself permission to hit the reset button. How you've not allowed yourself to hit that reset button. You've let society control you and condemn you to not hit that reset button. You allowed the wrong people in your life that caused you to not hit that reset button. But even though I had a script for how I wanted today's to go, I had my bulletins, I had my outline for how I wanted part 2 to go. Tiger Woods, y'all, he changed it. He changed it. I had to go a different direction. It's the same information. It's going to be the same information. You're not going to lose out. But I just had to put it in a different perspective. And that's what hitting that reset button is about. It's about that different perspective. Just like Tiger's on a Tiger level doing the Tiger things, you do your thing. If you're on that VP level, if you're on that CEO level, you're on that entrepreneurship level, you're on that wife level, that husband level, if you're on that health level, if you're on that management level, whatever the level that we're talking about, whatever game you're playing of life, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money he has and how much money you have. All that matters is you take what I'm about to tell you and put it into action, put it into play. That's what matters. But before we go there, let's take a look at Tiger. You see, the thing about golf, and I've been playing golf since around 95, 96. I was introduced to it by Major Colonel Betworth. Lieutenant Colonel Betworth introduced me to it. No, he was a colonel by then. He introduced me to golf, right? And I fell in love with the sport from that moment, because I had one shot that was great. I sucked all day, but I hit one shot that was great, and that sold me. That sold me on golf back then in 95, 96 time frame. Right? But let's talk about Tiger. As we know, Tiger burst onto the scene. He was one of the most dominant golfers in history. He could drive the ball further than most people. Augusta at one point called himself tiger-proofing the course because he was driving it so far. They had to change the course in order to give the other guys a chance. And so they tiger-proofed the course. I mean, he was just raw power. And he was raw immaturity at the same time. But in that, there was so much talent that he dominated golf. He dominated like nobody has ever dominated. And I doubt that somebody ever will. Because when Tiger did leave, when he did start suffering, some of the things we're going to talk about, I just thought Phil was going to be the next one. Sergio, I had my money on Sergio that he was going to be the heir apparent He was going to be the Kobe to Tiger's Michael Jordan. I just knew it was going to be Sergio. Vijay Singh, I thought might be. He might step up and be the guy back then. But none. 13 years ago, none of them could really capture that magic. None of them could really sustain and overwhelm the field like that. So when Tiger started falling off, for a lot of people, golf fell off. For the common fan, golf fell off. I still watch golf. I still play golf. I still was attentive to golf. But for most people, it fell off. Now let's talk about what happened to Tiger. Because most people, because they were casual fans, they were bandwagon fans, they saw this black Asian, this Blasian man just storm through there in what was normally predominantly white game that mostly dominated by white players. Saw this man come in. He opened whole generations of people's eyes to playing golf. And now he's doing the same thing. Now the same thing will happen. May not be for as long a period, but the same thing was happening. And let me go on record and say this. If he doesn't win another tournament, if he doesn't win another major, Tiger has accomplished getting to that level of Ali. Now, I ain't putting him ahead of Ali, so don't go there in the comments. But just like Ali overcame many things in his life and still became a champion, Tiger has overcome many things now and is still a champion. And he is a champion. And let's look at some of those things that he had to overcome. And mind you, this is less than 2 years ago. So when you think that you overcoming your challenges and hitting that reset button it's going to take too long, 2 years ago, all these things were going on in Tiger's life. 2 years ago plus, all these things were happening in his life. So most of you know that he had a messy divorce. So you know he went through a divorce. And many people go through divorce. And that doesn't necessarily mean that because his job is physical and mental, that it's going to take away from his ability to perform at his job. But let's look at some of the more physical things. Because in golf, there are certain physical things that if they happen to you, you're done. Most will be done, right? Completely done. And I will go ahead and say this. Tiger came into the Masters, by his own words, came into the Masters not thinking that he was going to win the Masters. So it wasn't like he was on this 2-year journey, and during this 2 years journey, he had that goal. I'm going to win the Masters. I'm going to win this Masters. That wasn't his goal. Tiger's goal was just to be involved in golf, be around golf. He wanted to play golf with his son, wanted to be able to play golf with his son, Charlie. That was his primary goal. But opportunity, he is not one to take a pass on opportunity. So when opportunity presented itself, when he saw at 12 that the door opened, the door had swung wide open for him to be able to actually win this thing, then he took advantage of the opportunity. But he did it in such a way that you have to take advantage of your reset. So let's talk about what he went through so you can understand the reset. So we know the messy divorce that he went through. You know the separation that can cause and the mental and emotional stress that can cause. But less than 2 years ago, he was arrested for DUI. For DUI in Jupiter, Florida. When he was arrested, he was so out of his wits that he thought he was in Southern California. He thought he was in Southern California when they arrested him in Jupiter, Florida. That's how out of his wits he was. At that time frame, over these last 13 years, he has had 4 back surgeries. 4 back surgeries. If you play golf, even if you don't play golf, if you just watch golf, the back is incredibly vital to your performance in golf. With a bad back, you cannot play golf. I mean, it was to the point where Tiger's back and some of the other things I'm going to tell you about some of these other injuries were so tremendous that the man couldn't walk. If you've seen some of the other tournaments, he'd take a swing and go right to his knees. He was in such pain. He's changing his swing over the years. He's doing all these things because he was in so much pain. But he had his 4th back surgery. And he had the one where they fuse the bone. They're fusing the spine. That spinal fusion surgery, usually in golf, that's it. In most sports, that's it. In life, that's it. You're not doing much. He talked about how he was in pain just to sit down. He couldn't lie down. He could barely walk. He certainly wasn't running. That all those things, his body just failing him. He could not do. And he has children. You see, his focus was on his children at that time. So he had the back surgery. Let me get my notes up here where I can see them well. He had his back surgeries. He also, because I didn't want to forget any of them, because I need you guys to understand all. He had elbow surgeries, right? He had knee surgeries. He had a neck injury. He had the elbow injury, not surgery. And he had double Achilles. Now, I remember playing football. And there was one gentleman. And he was playing receiver. And I was out, I was set out next to him. And he came off the line. And you heard the pop of his Achilles. You can't walk. Your Achilles pops. You're not walking. That Achilles tendon, you're not walking. So he had double Achilles issues. And then he spent time in Mississippi in a sex addiction clinic. And all of this stuff was publicized. You go through things and it's private. I go through things, unless I tell you, it's private. His stuff was a tabloid. His stuff was for everybody to see. Everybody to see it. He went through all of that. 2 years ago, his life was in shambles. You can have all the money in the world. You can have all the fame in the world. But that man's life was in shambles. That man's life was in the toilet. It was swirling around. He, albeit wealthy, was having a horrible life. No one would want that life. You wouldn't want that life of getting drunk, DUIs, the people showing up at golf tournaments with your mugshot on their shirt. Yeah, we saw you. You wouldn't want that life. You wouldn't want that life where every day when you show up for work, you got people taunting you. You got people reminding you of all the negative things that you've done, reminding you of all the mistakes that you've made. Can you imagine that if you went to work and let's say you're an accountant, you go to work and here it is every day, your coworkers, the people who work in other offices, your boss, everybody who comes in, your customers, people who just work in the building. They just keep coming up to you and say, hey, remember when you got the company audited and we lost $20 million? Hey, remember when you misplaced some funds and you almost went to jail? Hey, remember when you got caught up in that whole thing by having sex in the closet and y'all got caught? Hey, remember when your husband or your wife came up here and they just created this whole and they were just throwing stuff all over your desk? You remember that? You remember all that stuff? So, can you imagine? That's your day-to-day work. That was his day-to-day work. That was his day-to-day life. He goes out somewhere, there's people, fans and foes, reminding him of that. Reminding him of that. Everywhere he goes. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? But the thing about it is, all Tiger wanted to do was get healthy to be able to play golf with his kid, with his son Charlie. He still wanted to be involved with golf. He didn't know how, he didn't know what, but he still wanted to be involved with golf. But then he said in his interview that he realized that he could still swing. He could still swing a club. And when he realized he can swing a club, he said, well, let's see what we can do about it. He didn't come back expecting to win the majors. He just wanted to play the game that he so very loved, that his life has been centered around for so very long. But through those tragedies, through those issues, through that trauma that he suffered, he hit the reset button. Not so much of his body that mattered, but the reset of his mind and his heart. Those two reset buttons. And let me add another one. The control of your sexual energy. Control of your sexual energy, reset of your emotions, and reset of your thinking is what changed Tiger, which made him a changed man, which adulted him. A lot of people like to say, I'm paying all my bills, so I'm adulting. I got to go to work every day, so I'm adulting. But that's not adulting. Controlling your sexual energies, controlling your heart energies, controlling your mental energies, that's adulting. Putting them in perspective so that they function for you, that's adulting. Tiger became an adult. At 43 years of age, he became an adult. So from 41 to 43, he became an adult. And it doesn't matter when. Age doesn't make you an adult. Time doesn't make you an adult. Control your sexual energies. Control your heart energy. Control your mind, thought energies. That makes you an adult. So what are three of the main things we're going to talk about of what Tiger exemplified and put into action? Each one of these things you have to put into action. The first thing was discipline. Discipline. Tiger became a disciplined golfer. He talked about how he had to get up at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and start his preparation for each day. How he had to get his body ready, get his mind ready. The practice that he had to do, getting himself ready. It is not something that he does just for tournament. He talked about how this is what he does, period. Preparation for your day. How many of you prepare for tomorrow? You know what you have to do tomorrow. Are you prepared for it? You know what you have to get done in the next 6 hours. Are you prepared for it? Are you delaying and procrastinating and putting things off? Or are you taking that massive action that comes from discipline to get yourself prepared for when opportunity comes? You see, if you had told Tiger Woods, hey, in 2 years, you're going to be playing at the Masters and the door is going to be open. He didn't have that. He didn't have the future telling of that. But if he had that, yeah, you can be disciplined when you got that future telling. But all he had was the purpose of, I want to be able to play golf with my kid, and I just want to be around golf. That was his why. But he saw opportunity. First, his body started feeling all right, like I can swing a club. Then he realized after swinging a club that, hey, I can still play the game. He wasn't expecting to win. I keep saying that because I want you to understand it. He wasn't expecting to win, but he had the discipline to keep his body and his mind in a place where it would be available when the opportunity came. When the opportunity came. I don't know the relationship between him and his girlfriend, but he obviously has a strong bond with his son, a strong bond with his mom, and a strong bond with his daughter. I don't know the relationship with his girlfriend, but it appears to be a strong one. And he has a strong bond with his coaches and his close circle. He has a strong bond with them. And you can tell that he is a changed person in the way he played. In the way he played. And before I talk about the discipline of his play, let me give you the other two key components because they are integral in how he played and how you must play this game when you hit your reset. The second thing is that he had a maturity about him. He matured. I said earlier, he was adulting. He's now adulting. He matured in his mindset. He matured in how he moved, in all his movement. He stripped away from the young, I'm gonna bully the course, I'm gonna bully the players, I'm going to rant and rave and yell and curse and all these things. He matured from that. And he took everything in perspective now. It was more than just the strategy of playing golf. It was the strategy of living life. Most of you have a strategy for work, but where's your strategy for living life? Where's your strategy for how you're going to enjoy life? Where's your strategy for your relationship? Where's your strategy for your health? Where's your strategy for your money? Where's your strategy for all those things? Because they come in a 360-degree package called the life of you. The life of you. When I say that I am Renz, like this is, if you know me personally, you know that I will arrogantly say, but people know me, know the concept of it, but I will say I am Renz. But they understand that what I'm saying is I am the 360 degrees of my life. That I focus on every aspect of it. The thing was, when I was younger, I didn't have the maturity. I swung for the fences on everything. I was thinking short term for everything. And my why was the why that society and then the world say that I should have. Not my why. Not my why. Not my why. And you have to have your why. The third one is patience. Tiger had patience. He went through all these surgeries. He went through all these pain. He went through his addiction sessions, his program in Mississippi. He went through his addiction program. He went through the DUI process and everything he had to do with that. He had the patience to go through all that stuff. All that. And all he wanted to do was just play golf with his son and be in the golf and just have something to do with the PGA with golf. But he had patience. And let me tell you one thing in golf. If you understand golf, you will know you gotta have patience. Because when me playing golf when I was younger, just like Tiger, I would try to hit it as hard and as far as I can on every hole. Every hole. It doesn't matter if all of a sudden down there the course tightens. Let me do it this way. Tightens up. And I'll say, no, I'm not going to land in this wide spot and then go for a, what will probably be a long putt. Let me see if I can slide it through that little opening. And then I end up in a sand trap, or I end up in the water, or I end up in the woods because I'm trying to hit it as hard as I can. So back in the day, Tiger would step onto a course. He's #1 in driving distance. Well, yesterday through the Masters, he was 44 in driving distance. No one who is 44th in driving distance usually wins a Masters. That doesn't happen. But patience, maturity, and discipline, he realized the most important stat that you need to have in golf. He was #1 on the greens in regulation. #1 on the greens in regulation. That is the most important stat. That's the most important stat. That means you didn't spend a whole bunch of time in the woods. You didn't spend a bunch of time, in sand traps and in water. That you were hitting the ball safely, then hitting the ball safely again. After that, 1 putt, 2 putt, 1 putt, 2 putt, 1 putt, 2 putt. And he won the Masters. When you go and look at the stats, you will say that Tiger should not have won until you see #1 in greens and regulations. That is the stat. That comes from discipline. That comes from maturity. That comes from patience. That comes from patience. You have to put those things into action when you hit that reset button. The first time I hit the reset button on my finances, I wanted to save my 10% for savings, 10% for investing, and 10% for fun, but I couldn't. I was 98% leverage. Actually, I was like 104, 112% leverage, and then I had to do some things and do some hustling and a few other things. Then got promoted, and I was able to get to 98%. I didn't have the 10%, but patience. What can I do with this 2%? Oh, I can pay this off. I can work harder to pay this off. I can add more to pay this bill off. Oh, now I got 5%. Now I can add more to pay this off. Now I got 10%. I can pay this off. Now I got 12%. I can pay these things down. Okay, now I'm at 70%, 10% in fun, 10% in investment, 10% in savings. Now I can do the 70-10-10. I had to have the patience to get myself in position to be able to do my 70-10-10-10 plan. I want to fix my credit. I didn't run out to do some quick, super fast credit repair program. No. Slow and steady. Let me get this bill, let me get this credit card paid down. Let me go ahead and get this pledge loan that I've been telling y'all about. Let me go ahead and, get this secured credit card. Let me do these things, pay these things down, challenge these, and doing this all at the same time. And let me do all of this and patiently, 5-6 months later, I got a 100-point boost on my credit score. Patience, maturity, discipline. Patience, maturity, and discipline. It takes those things. You want to get your body right. You didn't put on. There was a gentleman. I know he's going to watch this video, but in one of his comments on my Facebook on my Facebook page, he talked about how he's only lost 3 pounds, right? And my immediate thought was, it took you. You didn't drop 100 pounds. You didn't put on 100 pounds in a week or a month. So you're not going to lose 100 pounds in a week or a month. Maturity, discipline, patience. It's what it takes. You're in a relationship. if you value the relationship, if you believe the relationship is something that you want to grow. Discipline, maturity, patience. It's going to take time. If a person has been through some type of trauma, if a person is what I like to describe as burnt toast. Now, for y'all who don't know, burnt toast, in my world, the way I'm talking about it, is that person who resembles that piece of toast that my grandmother used to put in the little slide thing under the oven where the gas was at. And then she forget about it a little bit and it comes out a little burn on top. So you take that knife and over the sink, you scrape it all off. I've seen somebody doing it in trash, but no, you do it over the sink. I don't know why. That's just why we did it. And you get that burn off. You take that knife, that butter knife, and get all the burn off. You know, you might still have a little bit around the edges, but for the most part, you get the burn off. And then you can put the butter on there and put your jelly or whatever you're going to have, and you can eat that toast. You know, but most people come with as burnt toast. They've been burned by people in previous relationship who cheated on them. They were burned by people in previous relationship who stole from them. They were burned by people in previous relationship who were mentally abusive to them. Burned by people in previous relationship who was physically abusive to them. Burned by people who were financially abusive to them. And unfortunately, and one of the utmost is people who come from traumatic backgrounds where they were burned by rape. As far as, especially when it comes from a man towards a woman, but there are men as well who don't feel the freedom to be able to speak on it, but who are burned by those. It takes time. If the person is working through those issues, working through the mistreatment, working through the abuse, working through the cheating, working through the trust issues, if they're working through all those things, it's going to take time, patience. You must have patience. Now, I'm not saying you got to have patience for all the world, because a person has to be showing marked improvement. Marked improvement. Tiger said, oh, my back, I can swing a club. That's marked improvement. Oh, I can keep swinging a club. There's more marked improvement. I can play at a tournament level. Marked improvement. You have to show improvement. I will never tell you to stay patient in a situation that does not show improvement. It has to be showing improvement. So if the relationship is showing improvement, if the person in the relationship is showing improvement, have patience. Be mature about it. But they have to be disciplined about the action that you take. It's not going to happen overnight for none of these things. For you losing weight, getting in shape, making money, building a business, building a relationship, falling in love. None of those things, buying a house if you want to buy a house. Matter of fact, I spoke to the bank today. About investment properties. What do I need to look like to buy investment properties? And based on what they gave me, it's going to take some patience. It's going to take some patience. For the level of the investment that I want to do, it's going to take 2 years of patience in order for that to happen. 2 years. But I got patience to do it. I just have to now be disciplined and maintain my maturity in order for it to happen. So when you press the reset button, don't just press the button and then hope and pray that everything's going to work out, that everything's just going to be in your favor. If you don't start adding discipline in your life, disciplines that lead you to not the goal per se, but lead you to be in a condition so that you can take advantage of opportunities to achieve different goals, whatever the goal is, but to grab those opportunities. In one of my next videos, we're going to do an opportunity meditation. So you can understand every morning, wake up, do this opportunity meditation. Before you go to bed at night, do this gratitude and opportunity meditation. I'm going to do that one too. But you get yourself ready for opportunity, because you don't know what opportunities are coming your way that you'll be in position for. But you'll be ready. You'll be ready. You'll be ready. And to be mature enough to take those actions, but don't overdo it. Don't extend yourself to the point where if it doesn't work, you hurt yourself. You know, Tiger talked about how he would extend himself, and he realized, he talked about how he used to extend himself, but he also talked about how in this tournament, after 12, when he came up to 12 and he saw that, you know, guys were going for the green in 12, you know, and they're landing in the water. The leaders were landing in the water, landing in the water. He said, no. I'm going to land right there real safe. I'm going to do what's called a layup. I'm going to lay it up right there. And then I'll go to the green and putt it. You know, I may leave myself a 40-foot putt, but I didn't fall in the water and have to take that drop shot. Didn't have to do that. Didn't drop 2 shots because of that. So when he saw other people without hubris, he himself had it because of that maturity that says that let's lay it up soft. Let's get that strategy plan. And even at that point, that's when he first started realizing I might actually have a chance to win this thing. So you have a chance to win everything in life. You have a chance to win your relationships. You have a chance to win your health. You have a chance to win your money. Most importantly, though, you have a chance to win you. You have a chance to win you. Hit that reset button. Incorporate the discipline, the maturity, and the patience, and you will be a changed person. You'll be a changed man. You'll be a changed woman. And you'll come to it now looking like a comeback from all the struggle that you had, from everything that you went through. And there'll still be some naysayers. There'll still be those who want to bring up your past. But when your future becomes your present and it far exceeds your past, you won't even be able to see them because they'll be so far back in your past. And more than likely, they'll probably be on your bandwagon. They'll be on your bandwagon. So go ahead and watch these other videos as well for part 1 and for the tribute to my uncle. I appreciate you guys. The tribute talks about the lessons I've learned, and part 1 gets you ready for this one. If you were watching in reverse, it doesn't even matter. But watch these other videos. Y'all have a great day. Remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable.